Welcome to the last episode of Balancing Healthy, and not forever, but for what I'm calling season 3 of the podcast, purely because podcasts take some work, right? There's a lot of behind the scenes things that go on. And even just now, I was like setting up and I was like, oh, I forgot how I set up my microphone so that you can't see the stand, but you can see the microphone. And like, how do I set the background? And like, I always have to like look to my old videos and go like, okay, like, how am I setting it? Because like we're in a very small apartment. It doesn't look like this behind me all the time. Like my photo behind me is actually sitting on my dryer. So it's like I'm trying to hide that because we've got to put it on the wall and it's the whole thing there. And then I've usually got the clothes horse behind me. There's a lot behind me and it's all like shunned to the side whilst I record. So it's a little bit of fiddling. But anyway, the point being is that this is going to be the last episode for what I'm calling this season, purely because I currently don't have any more things planned that I want to say. And I really always want this podcast to be intentional and to teach you something, to educate you in some way or provide a lesson in something that like you probably didn't think about before. Like I don't want to just come on here and start chatting shit to chat shit because I could chat shit all day. Like that is just me. If you know, you know, I'm an absolute yapper and I could talk about nothing because I really struggle to sit in silence. And something that came through, oh my God, maybe I should update actually. It's been a week and a half since we did our overnight marathon walk. Why have I not even spoke about that? I don't think I've even spoken about it on the podcast at all. So I was just thinking about it because I was like, Charlie's one of my clients, one of my very good friends. She does this overnight marathon walk every single fucking year. Like props to her because me and Mitch went and did it with her this year over in Perth. And we talked for the whole 9 hours. And it's really funny because before we flew over, Mitch looks at me and goes, Sarah, are you going to talk to me for the whole 9 hours? And like context with that was I was yapping at him. Like I just yap. I just go, I just yap. And he was like, Sarah, are you actually going to talk to me for the whole walk? And I was like, you know what? Challenge accepted. But he bought his headphones and then me and Charlie just yapped the whole time, which was so fun. We yapped for 9 hours. Like literally just don't stop talking. And I don't even know how there was that much to say, but there was that much to say and it was just a lot of fun. So anyway, we did that. That was for Ronald McDonald House charity. So it was really, really cool. We did like, I don't know how far into the walk. So it was a 42K walk because it was a marathon. And we stopped off at the Ronald McDonald House and like did all those bits and bobs. Like it was just like a really good time. Despite being in a little bit of pain. I did it in not great conditions. And I was like due for my period any second whilst we were doing the walk. So like already I knew like hips and back were going to be like a little bit sore and they're actually pretty fine. I got one pretty bad blister. Actually, sorry, it's been 2.5 weeks. Sorry, it's been 2.5 weeks. I was just thinking my blister has like just recovered. Like the skin is still healing. Purely because I'm still like when I work I'm in like runners and stuff, so I'm still like it's like rubbing together still, but it's pretty healed. It's been 2.5 weeks and it's pretty healed, so very happy with that. But anyway, I don't remember the point of this story. We had such a good time in Perth. We like a whole 8 days of just laughter and fun and being so cared for and looked after, and I feel like I'm gonna tear up thinking about it because we just had the best time. And like I've never felt quite so, I'm not even gonna say never felt quite so good because I obviously have, but it was just a week that I can't comprehend. And I just think like I literally would not have done it had I not met Charlie through Instagram 6 years ago now, which kind of ties into the episode. Oh gosh, I just kicked my microphone. Kind of ties into the episode, but it's just insane because 6 years ago we met. We were both deep in our keto, 1,200 calorie, like really restrictive diet era, doing egg fast, doing all of that. And then like I came out of that, I started my coaching business, Charlie became a client of mine, and then it's just like blossomed this beautiful friendship. And to know that like both our partners get on so well, like it was just such a good time. And I could talk about it all day, but I won't because the purpose of this episode, so I didn't want to just like finish off the season with nothing like pivotal. And I was wanting to do 2 more episodes, so this week and next week. But next week was meant to be a recap for my retreat, which was meant to happen this week, but I postponed it to October. So that episode will be postponed. You'll have to wait till October to hear about it. But if you are keen for a retreat, then absolutely send me a DM on Instagram. I'll send you the details. But yeah, so because I'm not doing that next week, I decided we'll wrap up here. And I just wanted to leave you with like a little bit more of a reminder, and I'll give you a bit of backstory to it, but more of a reminder, something to kind of ponder on if you ever feel like, you know, you're trying to lose weight or like, you know, tone up or change your body in whatever kind of way that you want to. Nutrition is always the biggest part of it. And something that I really want you guys to think about is that losing weight and dieting and all the things, whatever word you want to put on it, is always easier when you don't have a social life. And now that's going to sound really harsh, I feel, but it's quite literally the truth. And I'll talk to some examples too. I don't have notes on me today because I really wanted to kind of like go with my thoughts and not let this go for like years. So first kind of thing I want you to think about is think back to COVID, right? So especially if you were in Melbourne, like we were locked the fuck down, like for so long. It's kind of like it's starting to fade from my mind because it's been like 6 years now, but I'm like, it's still there. And it's kind of pivotal in my journey in a different way. But think back to COVID. If you were someone that lost weight during COVID and like it was quote unquote easy to stick to because you were cooking all your meals from home, you got to control all your food, there was no quote unquote temptation to go out. Like I think there was still fast food restaurants. I feel like there was still takeaway places open potentially. I don't fully remember it. But yeah, it was like you could control everything and there wasn't as much temptation and you could really, you know, lose weight easy essentially. And not to say that like it's easy to lose weight, but I just want you to think about like the environment, the conditions and what you put yourself in really does affect, you know, your results. So I know a lot of people that in lockdown, they lost a lot of weight and they did it. They, you know, healthily did it well, all the things like looking after themselves, you know, potentially walking more, training at home, like doing all of that. So probably getting really fit essentially. But then we came out of lockdown and no one really knew how to live. I remember as well. So for me personally, when lockdown hit, I was nearly at my smallest at that point. And when lockdown hit, it really fucking drove me to do some crazy shit. Egg fasting, so eating just eggs and fats for 3 days, which means no carbs, which means of course the weight's going to drop because I've got no fucking carbs in my body to hold the water. I was fasting, like attempting like 24 hours, 36-hour fast, like because again, I was home, I could quote unquote control it. So it was like I didn't need to have those temptations of going out or like, you know, I could just be home and I can control everything. So lockdown was really, really kind of pushed me at the start of lockdown, really pushed me in that way to the point that around April, I was at my absolute smallest. And I know I've spoken about this before. And if you follow me on Instagram, there's a certain photo that I post. It's like me in like my pajama top and like a pair of undies. And it's a mirror selfie. And I'm like, I look so fucking upset. Like I look really, really like down, like not happy. And my legs are like stick thin. And that's what I always remember. That was April 2020. And that is when I was like at my absolute fucking lowest. And there was nowhere else to go from there. So for me, lockdown was a lot more of like that. I don't know what to do next in terms of weight loss. I've lost my weight. I'm seeing everyone else lose weight, like on Instagram and stuff, and I can't lose anymore. And I didn't know it was next. So that turned into when I started binging and my digestion wasn't good. Like there's so much I can go into, but like that's kind of the direction it took for me. So when I came out of lockdown, I almost also felt like I had to go out. I had to, you know, if someone invited me somewhere, I couldn't say no. Or it was like, because we didn't know when it would be taken away from us again, right? It was like, oh, we've got this freedom. We need to use it to our best ability. So then like I feel like the pendulum swung in the other direction. So a lot of people lost a lot of weight during COVID. And then when they came out, they didn't know how to balance it all with social life, with going out to eat, with going out to drinks. We came out just before Christmas. So then you've got Christmas and not huge Christmas parties because I don't think they were like allowed really at that point. But there were still like Christmas gatherings and birthdays to catch up on. And there was so much stuff that no one knew how to balance it all. And like I said, for me, it was more of a sense of like I had restricted so much through many years. Excuse me. Wow. I had restricted through so much through many years that I went the other way and I just started eating so much, drinking so much, like not sleeping properly. Like I did not look after myself. Like it was really, really bad because I was like, oh, I don't know when I'm going to be able to, see these people and eat this food and like have these drinks and like have a cocktail. And like that's kind of where it started for me in terms of like going the other direction. A lot of people, yes, wanted to keep, oh my God, let me have a drink. I don't know why I've just croaked twice. Which, by the way, this drink bottle, hang on. One of my old clients sent this to me, well, I want to say 2 years ago. I still love it. CBS, she got it branded for me. Stunning. Anyway, goodness gracious, don't know why I'm having this moment. I think I was saying we were coming out of lockdown. People lost a lot of weight. They didn't know how to balance it out with eating out and drinking and all the things because everyone knew like calorie deficits. At least this is my experience with the people that, I followed and I surrounded myself with, I guess, on Instagram and stuff. But calorie deficits were, everywhere. And that's what I mean. Like that's why I struggled because I couldn't go anywhere further in the calorie deficit. So I started really just going crazy in other ways. But people didn't know, they only knew how to cook. Sorry, they only knew how to track what they cooked. They didn't know how to track what they ate out, and not that you need to track what you eat out. So this is a big thing for me, what I teach my clients is I don't force people to track their food in my fitness pal when they eat out. I'll get them to put it in a food journal so then I can see it myself. I can see what they're eating. As in like they'll take an actual photo of it and put it it's on the same app, they'll put it in the food journal for me. But also we plan for it as well. So this is the thing that people didn't know. They didn't know how to plan for it. They didn't know how to balance it. They didn't know how to include drinks. They'd go out for cocktails and be like, fuck it, I've ruined it, and just like go ham on all the drinks. And like truthfully, I kind of did the same as well because like I said, it was not a good time. But yeah, I just think it's something that I want you to think about and ponder. Like, yeah, it was easier to lose weight in lockdown because there was no social life. Like it was literally ripped from us. So it was like, well, what else am I going to do, right? Whereas, we come out of lockdown and I feel like 2026, I am surrounded by so many ambitious, driven women that want to do more, be more, see more, like myself included. Like there is so much that I want to do with my life that I struggle to really pull back on it. And I'm always go, 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 which is another reason why I'm wrapping up the podcast here for this season, because I'm like, there's just other things that do need my focus currently. So just while I'm thinking about it, I don't have a date that I know the podcast is going to come back, but I really need that time to plan it out and bulk record and like give you guys really solid content and not just talk for the sake of it, like I said before. So yeah, anyway. Oh my God, I've totally lost this. I knew I shouldn't have gone on that tangent because the ADHD, I don't know where I was before that. I think I was talking about, coming out of lockdown. We were forced into lockdown, forced no social life. So coming out, you got a social life. It's really hard to balance it all. I'm actually going to go to my next point that I had in my head because I've totally lost it there. But I had a client, actually it's the one who got me this drink bottle. How exciting. I love that we've just brought her up in two ways. But so, for example, for her, out of lockdown, I was talking about really busy and ambitious women. Sorry, let me go back to that. So yeah, I'm surrounded by really busy, ambitious women trying to do so much, trying to be so much. And like, it's just like, quote unquote, don't have time to track, which we do. Like we're going to have to make time. If you want to lose weight, if you want to change your body, you have to make time for it. I'm really grateful that I learned how to do it before I became so busy and had so much going on in my life, and like obviously living with my partner. Like I learned it all when I was single and, when it was kind of just cooking for me most of the time. So I learned tracking and everything back then. So I'm so grateful I did that. But there are ways to learn it whilst, being driven in your career, whilst, living with your partner, letting them cook for you, because that was something that also was really big for me. Was, again, so glad that by the time Mitch and I started dating, I was less, deficit focused. I'd really healed my relationship with food so I could let him cook for me. Whereas with my exes, I was like, there was no way that anyone was cooking for me. Like I was like, no, like I'm controlling everything because control freak. But yeah, anyway, point being, you can still learn it all. It's going to be harder though, which is the whole point of this. It's like it's easy to lose weight if you don't have a social life, but it is harder, which is why you do need to do the foundational work first. You do need to learn how to track your calories, track your protein, carbs, fats, all the things. Learn what calories your body feels good on. Learn what works for you. Learn what energizes you. Learn, what volume of meals feels good. Learn how much protein feels good. Like there's so much to learn that yes, it's going to be hard at the start, but if you have a goal of losing weight or toning up or, changing your body composition, like you're going to have to spend time learning that, and it might take longer, but it is also something that I work on a lot with my clients. Again, I don't have a client that's just like, boom, like, let's go, like feeling good, like we can just do a deficit, Bob's your uncle. I spend a lot of time with my clients making sure that we are building the foundational habits first, essentially. So then we can go into a deficit and it can feel clean and it can feel good and it doesn't feel like a huge added stress on the already busy, chaotic life. So that's on that. Another thing as well, along with the COVID thing, is thinking about like bodybuilders. So some of them will, still go out to eat, well, not go out to eat, but they'll still go out and have a social life when they're deep in their prep. But that's when you might start to see people bringing their food with them, which they need to do for their shows. Like that is something that's really specific to bodybuilding. I don't know if there's anything else, but definitely specific to bodybuilding. So they also might pull back on social events during, like when they're closer to their show. Firstly, because it's just a bit of a headache trying to manage it all and like constantly have food prep. They might just prefer to stay home instead, but also they don't have as much energy because they're not eating as much. And I just kind of want you guys to know that, because I know like I follow a few bodybuilders and I just wanted, like in my head I was like, oh, I don't think people do, but if any of you are following bodybuilders, just know that that is normal for them and that is what's needed for them to bring the best package to the stage when they do their shows. So if you're not a bodybuilder, then you don't need to worry about that. But yes, another example that I want to bring as well, so that client I was talking about before, is if you are someone who is living rural, so she doesn't anymore, but she used to live quite rural Australia. Sorry, I've got such an itchy nose. Woo. So she used to live quite rural. So for her, it's not that she didn't have a social life, it's that there wasn't a huge option for it. Her work hours were crazy. She's probably listening to this right now. Her work hours were crazy, like 12-hour days in a truck. There's not much in the town, so there's not really anywhere to go. There's not heaps to do. It's like it was quite easy to be home and tracking everything, which meant she obviously was tracking things to a T. She was training really hard. She was fueling her body really well. Like she learnt a lot quicker because she didn't have as much of that social aspect, that social, I guess, places to go. Like I think there was like a pub. Like it's that kind of rural town that we're thinking about. So of course it's going to be easier, and even got to a point, and I think this is something that other people don't think about as well. Like, cool, like I'll just like ditch my social life and then I'll just track whilst I lose weight. But like, okay, when you come out of that deficit, how are you meant to continue to keep the weight off? Like you have to learn the foundations before you go into it, but it can go that other way, which it did for me in lockdown. It did for this client. Is like, she really struggled to have a meal not tracked. Like say she would go to the pub and have a meal there. She really struggled to have a meal not tracked. And I remember I had to say to her a few times, like, I need you, like we're not in a deficit. We're not reversing. We're already building. Like we're at a really good point with calories. Like we're up here. And I remember saying to her, like, I need you to have the weekend off tracking. Like you are just tracking so much to a T. You know how to eat. You know how to fuel your body. You know what makes you feel good. You have your routine. You have to go without tracking. And I think it's something that probably sounds counterintuitive as a coach, but that's kind of my job. I can't have you so fixated on tracking that your whole life revolves around it. Like I'm really big on having, yes, learning how to track, fueling your body, like learning what works well for you, but having that social life as well and having that balance. Because again, it was taken away from us in COVID. It was so good to have it back. But it was like the pendulum swinging from one end to the other, and we really need to find that balance in it. And it's even people that, I see on socials now that, I know don't have like a huge social life, which again, seasons come and go. Maybe it's bigger at one point, like my last, 2 months that I've told you guys about. Crazy. I'm actually going to house sit again today, which is was not planned. But once this is done and then the wedding's done next weekend, I actually I've got a quieter time and I'm very excited about it. But yeah, so like when you've got your social life, there's times when like it's really busy and times when it's not so much. So learning how to navigate when it's really, really busy, still trying to stay on track, with your meal prep, your training, all the things, and then navigating when it's not so busy. That might be if you want to lose weight, that'll be a good time to go into a deficit when you know you don't have a lot coming up. So if I wanted to go into a deficit, which I'm currently not planning on, but if I wanted to go into one, I would look at doing it from May. And even if I was looking at this last year, I knew the first 4 months of 2026 were going to be crazy. I don't know how I've done this whole season of the podcast through everything else. I really don't know. But looking at May, I'm like, okay, cool. Like it's much quieter for me currently. I have got bits and bobs scheduled in, but it's nothing chaotic. It's nothing that's like, oh my God, that would be too much. I'm like, cool, that would be a good time to do a deficit. So, I mean, never say never. Maybe I'll do one. But yeah, I think I might wrap this up here. I only wanted this to be a nice, short, sharp episode for you guys. And classic Sarah fashion. I've talked for 21 minutes. So I just wanted to have this reminder for you guys that if you are really, really social and you are struggling to lose weight or, like I said, tone up, build muscle, whatever the kind of goal is, it comes down to nutrition and it comes down to consistency with training. And if you are in a season of like, I can't hit this amount of sessions or I can't track as much or I can't this or I can't that, like me, I had that 5 weeks of not training. It has felt stunning to get back into it, by the way. I've been back for 8 days, I think, and it feels incredible. But yeah, my God, I just totally lost it again because I just thought of another episode I could do, but I won't do that. Anyway, just a reminder that, if you're struggling, have a think about the externals, have a think about what the social life looks like, have a think about what you could potentially do. Maybe is it time like to pull you out of the deficit now, maybe go into one later in the year. Like really planning ahead. That's something that I do often. If a client says, I want to do this, I'm like, why? Let's look at the goal. Let's look at the reason behind it and let's plan ahead. Let's look at your year. What have you got on? Like, for example, I've got a client getting married in November. So like I think from December last year, we spoke about it ages ago so that we have got a plan in place. We've been building. We know when the deficit's coming. We know all the things. We know the little event she's got on that, other little things to do with the wedding. We know when we want to be out of the deficit in time for the wedding. Like we've got the plan sorted and I really encourage you to do that. And if you need some support, whether that's in a one-to-one capacity or within balancing her, the methods I use are always the same. It just depends on kind of the level of support I think you need and the level of support in terms of how long I feel like the process will be for your current goal, where you're at, your history, all the things. Then, of course, you can send me a message on Instagram. I do have another challenge starting. If you're listening to this live, let me just look at my calendar. This is live on the 9th of April. And my next challenge is starting on the 27th of April. So you've got 2.5 weeks to listen to this. And if you want to join us for Balancing Her, have a little look at what it's all about, then absolutely send me a message on Instagram and we can chat about it. Like no strings attached, just like what your goal is, what you want to achieve. We'll talk to your history, what kind of support you need, and then we can talk through that. But yeah, I'm going to wrap it up here. This feels so weird to me to just wrap it up like this, only at 24 minutes so far. Because yeah, I don't know when the next season's going to launch. It could be in a couple of weeks' time, who knows? But I really need to have that time to sit down and plan, my guests and plan, which by the way, do you guys like guest episodes? I love a guest episode because I feel like it's really fun to feed off other people. But yeah, planning my guests and planning my topics and planning, like I said, the things that I really want you guys to sit with and to learn, think about, get educated on. Like there's so much in this world to talk about and I just want it to make sense as always. So with that, I'm going to love you and leave you for the foreseeable future. This would be so weird if someone down the track is listening to these in a row and then they can just like click to the next episode. It's the next season because I do that a lot. I go back to podcasts and I start from the start and I'm like, they're like, so sorry for the wait. And it's like, dude, I listened to the last episode 2 minutes ago. So Oh, it's going to be so fun. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up here. Thank you guys so much for listening and for watching and however you consume the podcast. If you do have any episode requests or guest requests, or if you want to be on the podcast and you feel like you got, something you want to share, your story, whatever it is, send me a message. Like, I'm open to everything. I'm so chill as a human. So yeah, send me a message, but I'm going to love you and leave you guys. Thank you so much for watching, listening, all the things. Make sure if you are listening on Spotify to follow along so you're updated when I start season 4. And I would love it so much if you could rate the podcast as well, because that helps push these episodes out to more people who might need it. But thank you guys so much. I love you so much, and I will see you in season 4. Bye.